In this video, I'll be showing you everything that you need to do in order to stop your emails from going to the spam folder as fast as possible. And honestly, if there's anything that I've learned over the past 5 years of scaling 2 marketing agencies and my software company MailScale to 7 figures with email marketing, then it's that email deliverability is the single biggest factor that's going to determine how much revenue you're going to generate with email marketing. So in this video, I'm going to break down the exact steps that you need to take in order to get your emails out of the spam folder and into the main inbox, no matter if you're sending promotional emails to your customers or cold emails to new leads. So the very first thing that you need to understand is deliverability. What does it even mean? Well, your email deliverability basically determines where your emails are going to end up in. More specifically, in the spam folder, in the promotions tab, or in the primary inbox where you want your emails to land so they actually get seen. And this is absolutely crucial. Email marketing has the highest ROI of anything that you can do with an average of 40 to 1. Meaning that every dollar you spend into email marketing, on average gets $40 back. But if your emails don't land in the inbox and your prospects or customers don't receive them, they're never going to open your emails and you're not going to make a single dollar out of your email marketing. In this next section, we're going to break down exactly how any email system works and why your emails land in the spam folder. And bear with me here, it can get a little technical, but I'm going to make it as easy as possible. And after we covered what impacts your deliverability, I'm going to provide you with the exact blueprint on how you can fix it. There's essentially 4 key components when you're sending out emails. The first one is the domain that you're sending from. The next one is the email inbox or the sending servers from which you're sending from. Then there's the email copy, meaning what kind of words are you using in your emails. And then there's sending behavior that Google and Outlook also scans for in order to determine if you're a good or a bad email sender. So let's break these down even further. When it comes to the domain part, you usually buy domains with providers like GoDaddy or Namecheap. No matter if you're sending cold emails or if you're sending emails to your customers, you need to make sure that the DNS records are properly set up. Those are the DMARC, the DKIM, and the SPF record. The simplest explanation for those 3 records is basically that it's telling the receiving server where you're sending emails to that you actually own the domain and that it's properly authenticated. You're allowed to send emails from that domain because you own it. The next part are the email inboxes or the sending servers. Now, if you're sending cold emails, you usually spread your volume across multiple domains and multiple email inboxes in order to stay under the radar of Google and Outlook. So usually people set up inboxes with Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, Outlook, MailScale, which is our own software solution that automates the entire process of creating inboxes for cold email, AWS or ActiveCampaign, Klaviyo, MailChimp, the tools that are made to send emails to customers or people that explicitly opted in and expect your emails. Usually you don't really have to worry about this part because if you use a company that's proven to work, then there's not going to be an issue with it. Now, next up is the email copy, and this is actually very, very, very important. Now, with the email copy, we want to make sure that you don't use spammy words inside of your emails. You want to use proper personalization. You want to make sure that your emails are relevant, and you can do that by segmenting better. And if you're sending emails to customers, you want to use as little images or links as possible. And if you're using cold email, you shouldn't use any links or images at all. With cold email, you should just keep it extremely simple. And once someone responds, yes, that's interesting, I'd love to learn more, that's when you would send them any link. I want you to know what each of those means. So let's dive a little deeper. When it comes to spam words, you want to avoid any words that will trigger the spam filters, such as we can get you a guaranteed 100% ROI, stuff like that. So the reason behind this is that Google and Outlook, they obviously scan the email that you send. And if it looks like a spam email, then you're going to land in the spam folder. The next one is personalization. So these are the variables that you use within your email. For example, hey, first name, and then it will automatically put the first name of the prospect. Now, this is very important. The more personalization you have, the more unique each email looks, and the better your deliverability. All right, let's go back to the 4th and last key component, which is your sending behavior. When it comes to your sending behavior, you have to imagine that Google and Outlook, they know everything. They know how many people mark your emails as spam. They know how many emails bounced, which I'm going to explain in a second. They check if your domains are on blacklists. And they can also see how many people reply to your emails or click on the links that you have in your emails. And this together gives them a really good indicator on if people that you send your emails to actually want to receive your emails. So you need to look out for those 4 factors. Diving just a little deeper there, a spam complaint is if someone clicks on those 3 dots on your email and clicks report spam. And the reason why someone would do this is because they just really didn't like your email. So you need to make sure that you send good emails to the right type of people. The next one is low bounces. An email bounce means that the email couldn't get sent, for example, because the email address doesn't exist anymore. This is a big problem when sending cold emails. Because if you get a list of, let's say, 10,000 email addresses, it's possible that 1,000 people switch jobs and they just don't use the email anymore. Now, the problem is if Google and Outlook sees that you're sending a bunch of emails to people that don't exist anymore, it's an easy indicator for them that you're a spammer and that you don't even know who you're reaching out to. So you need to make sure to verify your emails properly, and we're going to cover that in a minute as well. And the last one here is ensuring that you're not on major blacklists. Blacklists are basically companies that specialize on identifying spam emails. And as you see on the right side, there's a lot of them. So you need to make sure that you're not on the major major ones such as Spamhaus or Barracuda. So again, all of these things together determine if Google, Outlook, Yahoo see you as a good sender or a bad sender, and if your emails land in the inbox or the spam folder. All right, next up, I'm going to give you a deliverability protocol that you can use in order to step-by-step go through the process and make sure that your emails land in the inbox. This protocol is literally everything you need, and it's going to be linked in the description below. Click on that in order to access it, in order to troubleshoot your deliverability. And the way that this protocol works is we're going to do a step-by-step test in order to identify exactly what it is that's causing your emails to land in the spam folder. And it consists of 3 tests. The first one is the basic test. And in this test, we're going to find out if everything is technically correct. We're going to do this test with a tool called Mail Tester. Once you open the link, it's going to give you an email address that you should send your email to. So first I'm going to copy this email. Depending on which email sending tool you're using, for example here ActiveCampaign, Klaviyo, and so on, they will have a setting where you can test your emails. So right here it says test your campaign, so I can just paste in that email and I'm going to send a test email. Alright, so here's the Mail Tester score. And as you see here, we scored 9.5 out of 10 points, which is really good. Mail Tester is going to give us an audit on if our DNS records are properly set up, as you see here with the DKIM, the SPF, and the DMARC, if our message, so our copy, could be improved, and if we're on any of the major blacklists. So in this case, it seems like we're listed on this blacklist, but in reality, very few blacklists have an impact on deliverability. The ones that I would be aware of is Spamhaus and Barracuda. If you notice that something is wrong with this step, then fix it with the troubleshooting steps below. For example, if you don't pass a test here in terms of the DKIM, the DMARC, the SPF records, just scroll down here in the deliverability protocol, and there's a couple of tutorials, for example, for ActiveCampaign and for cold email in order to set those DNS records up. If you're sending emails to customers or people that expect your email and you're using ActiveCampaign or Klaviyo, usually when you add a domain, it will give you all the instructions on which DNS records you should add to your domain provider tool. By the way, our software Mailscape completely automates setting the right DNS records for cold email specifically. If you want to check that out, I'm going to leave a link for Mailscape below as well. When it comes to blacklists, especially when you're on Spamhaus or Barracuda, you can request delisting there as well by going to Spamhaus and the Barracuda website and requesting delisting. So if something was wrong there and you fixed it, do a test again until everything is correct with Mail Tester. The second step after that is to send a simple email test. The question that we want to answer here is, does a simple email, meaning not a promotional email, not a marketing email, a simple email, does it land in the inbox or in the spam folder? And this is going to help us determine if the domain that you're using is maybe flagged or not. A free tool that you can use in order to do this is called MailReach. When you open up the link, MailReach is going to give you 2 things that you need to add to your emails. The first one is a specific code that you need to add inside of your testing email, and then it's going to give you a list of email addresses that you should send the email to. So you can just click here on export in order to export all those email addresses. And then you add those email addresses to your sending tool. Here specifically, I'm using a cold email sending tool called PlusVibe. This is, by the way, the best sending tool at the moment. And I actually partnered with the founder because I like them so much. So if you're interested in trying out the best cold email sending tool, in my opinion, I'm going to leave a link below. If you use that link in order to check out PlusVibe, you're going to get a couple extra perks. For example, you get the benefit of getting into a premium warm-up pool, which really increases your deliverability. No matter what tool you're using, you're going to add those email addresses into the lead section. Or if you're using ActiveCampaign or Klaviyo, you're going to add those into your contacts. And then you're going to write a simple email, meaning an email that's not promotional, that just needs to land in the inbox. And if it doesn't, then you definitely know that something's wrong with your domain. So this could be an email like, hey, first name, are you coming to the meeting on Sunday? We know for a fact that this email doesn't have any spam words, it doesn't have anything promotional, and it needs to land in the inbox. Make sure that you add the code that MailReach also gave you, and then send the campaign. Then you just click on this button right here and wait a couple minutes until all those emails are going to be sent out. Once it's finished, you can actually choose to see the results for professional inboxes or for personal inboxes. Since with this test, I tested my cold email inboxes that I'm sending to B2B businesses, meaning to professional Google Workspace and Outlook inboxes, I'm going to filter for that. But if you did this test for your emails that you're sending to customers or to people that expect your emails with ActiveCampaign, Klaviyo, and so on, then you would choose personal inboxes usually. So as you see, my score here is 8.1 out of 10. And we can see here that I mostly landed in the inbox for all those Google inboxes and all those Outlook inboxes, but there's a couple where I didn't land. So I can even click on this email right here in order to find out which inbox it was that landed in the spam folder in order to troubleshoot further. In terms of action steps, if your score is above 80%, it means that your sending domains generally are healthy. If the score is below 80%, it means that your sending domain is unhealthy. For warm emails, meaning if you're using ActiveCampaign, Klaviyo, and so on, I would just swap that domain, just set up a new domain and send emails from that domain. If you're sending cold emails, then you want to identify the domains specifically that land in the spam folder and put them back into warm-up only for 7 to 14 days in order for them to recover. If you've never sent cold emails before, warm-up might sound complicated, but it's basically a process that those sending tools like PlusVibe use in order to improve your deliverability. By the way, this is also something that we now completely automate with Mailscale, and we call this a self-healing mechanism. And the way this works is one of the add-ons within Mailscale is that we can do daily inbox placement tests with all of your domains, and then once we identify that a domain is unhealthy, we will automatically set it to send 0 new cold emails from your system so that we can recover it within 7 to 14 days, and only once it's back healthy will you actually start sending cold emails again with it. And with this self-healing mechanism, our customers get 90 to 100% guaranteed deliverability on their cold emails, which is pretty cool. So if you want to check that out, click on the link below. All right, now the third and last step, if a normal, simple email landed in the inbox and everything is good, now we need to make sure that your marketing emails land in the inbox as well and not in the spam folder. So the way that you're going to do this is exactly the same like the step before, but instead of sending a simple email, you're going to send the actual marketing or the promotional email that you actually want to send. For example, this email that I sent to our list of customers, which has images and links. It's much more difficult to get this email into the inbox than the simple email that we sent before, and that is why we need to test it. Obviously, if the mail reach score for this email is above 80%, then everything is perfect. Congratulations, you can continue sending your emails because you solved the problem. But if it's not, then we need to optimize the copy and switch a couple things around until it lands in the inbox reliably. And I'm going to show you the troubleshooting steps in order to do that. Some of them we already covered in terms of the domain level. You want to make sure that the DMAC, the DKIM, and the SPF are correctly set up. You want to make sure that you're not on major blacklists or request delisting if you are. When it comes to the copy, meaning the message that you send, you want to make sure that you're not using spam words. And you can check this by using a tool called Mail Meteor. So I'm going to link it below as well. Once you paste your email, you're going to see which words are potentially flagged as spam. So as you see here, guaranteed 5% is an overpromise that we want to remove. Financial, please answer ASAP. All those things are urgency, shady. So you want to play around with the message and change things around until you get a good score over here. Next one is to remove images and links. Now, when you send emails to customers, you usually want to use links, but if you send cold emails, you never want to send any links. And the reason is that Google and Outlook can't scan what's behind the link. So in order to protect their users, they would rather put that email into the promotion or the spam folder instead of risking it. That's a feature that some of the sending tools have. For example, here Plusvibe in the settings. As you see here, I can activate sending as plain text, and the benefit of this is that it makes Google and Outlook not see that we're using an automation or sending tool at all. It will look to them like we're sending a manual email one by one, even though we've sent hundreds of thousands of emails. Now, by clicking on this, it will disable the open rate tracking, but that's the point of it. Because in order for open rate tracking to work, these sending tools add a secret line of code. But again, problem is that code and that link Google and Outlook can't scan, so it can impact deliverability. So it's much better to send as plain text. Also, you want to add at least one, ideally several personalizations, meaning at least, hey, first name, so it automatically puts in, hey, John, hey, Jessica, and so on. And especially also in the subject line. So for example, if your subject line is quick question, then you want to say quick question, first name. For cold email specifically, you want to add spin tags at all costs. There's a little tutorial in here on what spin tags is. Spin tags basically is a variation of multiple different words. So as you see here, sometimes it would say hey, sometimes it would say hello, sometimes it would say hi. And you should add multiple of those inside of your cold emails so that every email looks kind of unique. Also with cold email, you want to make sure that your signatures are not repeating themselves, meaning that you're not using the same phone number and the address and all that stuff in the signature. Instead, I would keep it rather simple, like thanks, sending account name, and then from company. For example, Jessica from Mailscale. And then with warm email specifically, meaning warm email is when you send emails to existing customers or people that expect your email, you also want to check and optimize for the promotions tab specifically. The promotions tab doesn't exist when you send emails to professional inboxes. So the company emails like you're seeing at mailscale.ai, professional Google accounts and Outlook accounts, there's no promotions tab there. But if you send emails to @gmail.com, so to a personal email address, then there's a promotions tab. And you want to optimize your newsletter type of emails to not land in the promotions tab. So in order to do that, you can use Gmass, and also you can send emails to your own Gmails. The biggest factor here is the copy itself, like what you're saying in the copy. So you want to keep iterating until your emails land in the primary inbox. A couple of other troubleshooting steps here, your contacts. When you send emails to customers or people that expect your emails, you want to remove contacts that haven't opened your emails in 3 or 6 months regularly inside of your sending tool. Otherwise, Google and Outlook see that you're sending emails to people that don't engage with your content, and that's an indicator for them that you're a bad email sender. For cold email, you need to verify your email addresses. You can use tools like MailVery, NeverBounce, or Voila No Bird. And what those tools do is they check if that email still exists. And lastly, segment as much as possible for maximum relevance. You want to make sure that your emails are relevant. and you can increase your chances by segmenting your list a little more. A couple of other best practices for cold emails specifically is to send a maximum of 20 emails per day per inbox, using a maximum of 5 inboxes per domain to spread your volume, warming up inboxes for at least 2 weeks before sending cold emails. Also keep sending warm-up emails every day while sending cold emails, not having open rate tracking, links or unsubscribe links for B2B outreach specifically because you don't need it, increasing the sending delay of your email inboxes to at least 6 minutes. So inside of your sending tools, if you don't do it, it will send all of your cold emails in the first couple minutes of a day, which is just very unrealistic for Google and Outlook. And then to not send too many follow-up emails, don't send emails every day. If you send follow-up emails, send them every 2 to 3 days. Now my hope is for you to take all of this and implement it right away, because if you make sure that your emails land in the inbox, you're going to make significantly more revenue. But on the topic of cold email, there's one simple thing that you can do in order to dramatically increase your success with cold email, and that is to send from enough email inboxes. As you saw in this video, the only way to stay under the radar for Google and Outlook is to spread your volume across as many inboxes as you can. So if you click on this video right here, you're going to learn how you can set up hundreds or thousands of email inboxes literally in seconds and send cold emails at the scale that you need to in order to significantly grow your business. Not to mention that with the method I showed in that video, you're also going to save a bunch of money in the process. So if you want to save money while sending cold emails and get significantly better results, I'll see you there.